Hello and welcome to episode 51 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and with me this week in the Nintendo Research and Development Department to talk about the Super Nintendo Switch 2 64 Color U Advance is Sean
We get, formulas.
and Harrison.
That was a lot. I have nothing else to say, but hey, welcome back.
And potentially Momo. He is running a little late, but he's going to hop on the call. So at some point, a wild Momo will appear.
So get your Pokeballs ready.
Yeah. And so if you listen to last week's episode, you know what we're doing this week. This week, we are all going to talk about what we want to see from the Switch 2 and get our predictions in before they announce anything official any day now, we'll say. And I thought the best way to do this, I think, is to each individually get our thoughts out, and then we can discuss what the person said, and then the next person can just get all their thoughts out. We'll discuss what they said. Like almost like we're each giving our own little E3 presentation. What do you think?
Okay.
It works for me.
Yeah, it works for me. I separated mine. I wasn't sure what the assignment was, but I basically did what I expect, what I want, and what I'm worried about.
Oh, okay. I just threw together a mess of thoughts that I had.
That works. That works.
Yeah. I wasn't too sure, so I was just trying to make some parameters for myself. But I have lots of ideas. So Kevin, do you want to kick it off or?
Sure. So here's a list of the things I want from the Switch 2. So I started my list with a dedicated app that is something like Twitch, where I can watch people play games, because I'm at an age now, sometimes I don't have the energy to play a video game, but I will literally throw on like a YouTube Let's Play to fall asleep to.
Okay.
It's usually like a Let's Play of a Twitch stream, a YouTube video of a Twitch stream. But yeah, I recently watched a full playthrough of Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe because I knew I was never going to buy that game, but I was like, I want to see it. So I also do things like that. And even outside of like just entertainment purposes, you could use that channel for making walkthroughs. You know what I mean? Like there's so many video walkthroughs out there. So, and something that I think they should be capable of doing with this that I'd like to see is the ability to edit your videos straight from the system. I mean, if you can edit TikTok videos straight from the TikTok app, you should be able to edit video in a Switch 2.
Okay, so you want something a little more advanced than the capture, hey, you can trim this. Hey, there's Momo.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there we go, Momo. So you haven't missed much. We're talking about what we want from the Switch 2. I'm giving my presentation. And so far, I would like a dedicated channel where you can watch people play games. That's something I'd like to see in the Switch 2. Yeah. And the next thing that I think is a must that I definitely think they're going to do with the Switch 2 is I'd like to see new Nintendo Switch Online channels, but I'm not saying it has to be GameCube. In fact, I don't think it's going to be GameCube. But
would you think it'd be stuff they'd bring back from the Wii?
So here's what I'm looking for. So I think they could definitely do they could do Virtual Boy. We've said that before.
Yeah.
TurboGrafx 16 still out there. Wonder Swan Color is out there. And if they want to get crazy, they could even do a Sega Saturn channel. I don't know what Sega's doing with that stuff these days, but it would be a good way to promote the recent news of them rebooting a lot of those old franchises.
Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, Sega Dreamcast?
Dreamcast would be obviously ideal, but I feel about the Dreamcast the same way I feel about the GameCube. I think Sega is protective of those.
Yeah.
So another thing I'd like to see, the ability to stream to the television without having to dock the system, because I think this could be a great way to create potential one-to-one ports of Wii U games because you'd have two screens, and it would also allow them to maybe release DS games.
So you've explained this to me, and I've forgotten. How would they make that work?
So it would work kind of like the PlayStation. I forget what it's called. Is it the Bone? I don't remember what it's called. But
The Portal?
yeah, the PlayStation Portal. So imagine you're playing your Switch handheld.
Yep.
Now it's still doing exactly what it does, but it's sending a signal to the dock to also have something show on the TV. It's basically exactly how the Wii U did its technology.
That makes sense.
When you would use the controller.
So is part of that your hope to get back your map screen in your hands?
Yeah, they could do it for that. So yeah, the dock screen can play images while docked. So, this was a separate idea. Sorry. So another idea I'd like to have is that the screen can play images while it's docked. So you could have like a little fireplace or like a fish tank or something on there. That's just
cool. That'd be cool.
Silly.
Yeah, why not?
That's an interesting idea, actually.
Yeah.
You could have some good Nintendo stuff like Cheeps and
Yep.
All right.
And then I'm almost done with my presentation here. I wrote in here randomly why I don't think we're going to see GameCube as a channel for Switch Online, because I think GameCube games right now are Nintendo's like break glass in case of emergency. Like if there's a hole in their calendar, they can just remaster a GameCube game and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that's not going
on.
on.
That makes sense because they got Thousand Year Door coming. They did Metroid Prime. So yeah, that makes sense.
And my last little push here is I hope the Switch 2 keeps going with the love for Nintendo's history, because the Switch has had like so many great installments on major first-party Nintendo titles. Let's keep it going. And at the same time, bring back stuff we haven't seen in a while. Give us Pilot Wings. Give us that rumored F-Zero game.
Sure.
Give us some Star Fox, Kid Icarus, Ice Climber 2. Why not?
I'd be fine with an Ice Climber 2 now. Yeah.
Assuming we get all the rest of those games that you just mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have a strong chance of seeing this one, but a 3D Mario that's completely different than the way completely different in the way Mario Wonder was, but going as a 3D Mario game, because they tend to do something outside the box this way, like Mario Galaxy, after delivering a more traditional game, which they just did with Odyssey. So Mario Odyssey, revived that Mario 64 style, and there's 880 moons to collect. So, that game's going to be around for a while. If you want that style of game, it's there for you. So yeah, give us like a crazy, weird Mario next in 3D. And then the last thing I wrote here, obviously, a Zelda game that resembles that tech demo we got with the Wii U. That's my last one.
No, you're still waiting for that, huh?
Yeah. And those are my Switch 2 wants.
Did you think any more about, like, with this new system in Mario, like, did you think any more with, like, the Mario RPG category, Paper Mario?
I think there's some stuff that I'm basically taking for granted here in my mind. Like, I'm 100% convinced it's going to have backwards compatibility, so I didn't put that in the list. And like those games would hold me over, especially Paper Mario coming. But sure, I'd love remakes of the other, at least the Wii Paper Mario game. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I'd take that.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about just the direction they're going to take Mario in this next generation, and have you ever thought about like Mario from a different like perspective, like what if they made like a first person Mario game, just throwing that out there, a first person Mario RPG game.
I saw a really cool fan project the other day called Mario Universe, and it was Mario going through the different, like it was Mario playing in different Nintendo franchises. Like he'd go over and have like a Metroid section, and then he'd go over and have like a Zelda section. And I was like, that would be amazing.
Just different genres.
I'd like to see Yoshi's Safari come back, since it's the only Mario FPS, even though it's on rails. But
that's true. That's true. I think like after Mario Wonder, I think it can just go in a lot of directions. I just hope that there was enough success with Mario Wonder that they're encouraged to take more risks.
Yeah, not, hey, we're back to New Super Mario Brothers.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
All right, who wants to go next with their Switch 2 wants?
I'll I'll
Go
go
ahead, Harrison.
All right.
I'll go next. Once. Well, I'll start with my biggest one. And I think it's the most necessary. I think with the new Switch, we need to see a complete overhaul with the UI and the
Mm-hmm.
and just every online experience. I read a lot about in my expectations portion that I'm going to kind of work backwards. My expectation for a new console, I think, my expectation is that it's not going to be a big innovative difference that we might have seen from like past Nintendo consoles. I'll preface this with saying that Nintendo's always proven me wrong. They've always veered when I think they're going to stay on a straight path, and I could be wrong, but I think considering the success of the Switch, which tops the Wii in sales over a year ago, and
Yep.
then that directly following the Wii U, which had less than 20 million in sales. I don't know, but
I know
obviously,
what you're saying because that's basically why I kept my list to being like, give me a bunch of things we've seen before that we don't have on the Switch yet.
I think realistically, what we're going to see is we're going to see basically a Switch that is upgraded, and I think that is something that I'm quite excited about, and I think that's a good thing. My hope and expectation is that they make games more accessible just throughout all playing experiences, which means that for for handheld gaming, um, you know, for handheld gaming, it's better for hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly what you said, Kevin. It's easier to do games on your TV. We'll have better online experiences and better cloud service. I think we'll see an expansion to the online service. I think immediately, and perhaps that's something that we'll see with the backwards compatibility of the system. I think the next Switch will be backwards compatible, which will be a huge selling point for the new system. And I think this is also a reason why uh, the announcement of the next system, I think, will be quite short. Will be very short to when they actually release the system, because they're even though the units of the consoles have gone down these past quarter, like they're still selling a lot. So I'm sure Nintendo is looking at, okay, like we want to sell Switches for as long as we can leading up to this new console. So I could see that I could see it being, a few months, like 3 months, and then they release
Mm-hmm.
the new console. Maybe they announce it in the summer and they release it around Thanksgiving, something like that.
My prediction is announced in March, released in September, just because they've done that a bunch of times, but we'll see. That's
Yeah,
mine.
and and with that, you're gonna have consumers that like we vary. Like some people got it when it first came out. Some people have gotten upgrades to their Switch console, like me. Some people have gotten secondary systems, new Switches, Switch Lights. So it varies so much, but also like if you're someone who is looking to get into Nintendo, knowing that you could buy a new console with new launch titles, with an expanded online service, and with every game that's already on Switch day one, I think that would be huge. One thing I expect is that Nintendo 100% will not punt on a launch day. There's no way that Nintendo is going to have a launch day similar to what Xbox and PlayStation had. They're going to have a solid launch title. They're going to have secondary launch titles. They're going to have more online games. I think there's just going to be a lot to throw at any kind of consumer, whether you are deep into the Switch or whether you're very new. Okay, I need to go all the way back now, I guess. As far as accessibility goes, like I expect like an overhaul in Joy-Cons. I expect that even if we have an LCD screen, that it's gonna be a big upgrade, and we'll see an OLED, a year down the road or something. But overall, I want to see things like, I really want to see quick resume in this new Nintendo console.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Like I've talked on here, like I would love to be able to play one game of Splatoon and then go over to like my Zelda game or my Mario game, because what I experienced with Nintendo is that like everything is just too slow sometimes, and like I think I would be willing to play more Splatoon or something if I didn't have to spend 3 minutes loading up the game and then going through the whole intro and then going to the lobby and doing everything just to play one game and then to get out. I would love it if I could have that game open and then, every once in a while go back to it, jump into a lobby, come out, go over to my next game. That's a feature that when I had it on my Xbox, I thought, well, this is kind of silly. But then when I started playing around with it, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like it's just like switching over apps. Or like
right.
Kevin, you talked about how like you'd like to have like a Twitch feature. Like I imagine like it would be so cool if I could have like YouTube or something pulled up on my Switch and I could listen to YouTube while I play my games. I know that might seem silly to some people, but I think that would be like really cool to have that multifunctionality, or just the possibility of doing it. So I think accessibility is really the future moving forward, and I hope that Nintendo continues with that. And where I would be worried and negative is the online portion of it, because Nintendo just has never gotten the online portion of it correct. But there's optimism there, and overall, I think we're going to see an upgraded system that looks very similar, and we're going to see a great release. With that, I think that's my presentation for today.
Sweet. Momo, do you have any? I know I didn't clue you in on the conversation here for what we'd be talking about tonight, but do you have anything you want to see in the Switch 2?
First of all, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Also, I am suffering from a high fever and a bacterial infection in my throat currently. That's why I was running a bit late. I was at the doctor's.
Oh man.
So that's all fun. That's all right.
Well, if you need to get off the call at any point, don't feel like we're gonna abandon you.
That's all right. With the Switch 2, I mean, like everyone, we want performance improvement. We don't need it to be Xbox Series X. We just need a bump up in performance so it can handle, it can handle better quality games. It doesn't need to be crazy. It just needs all that. The UI definitely needs an update. I think it'd be cool if they brought back the Wii U. When all your friends were just running around, like in the background.
Oh yeah, yep.
Like the
home
Wii,
menu.
The home menu. Like it'd be cool to have like some sort of home menu with all your friends. Like you can see what they're doing and stuff like that. Instead of like in the top corner,
Yeah.
You just need to get more of a visual thing. Obviously, update
more Mii's.
Yeah, I think they need to update their systems. Need to be a massive update to don't use the phone to do multiplayer. Do it all on board. Add all that stuff in. Give us the ability to, like you said, maybe we can watch people playing. Like stream. We can if they want to stream it. and we can watch it. Like friends, not everyone, but like if your friends playing and they're streaming it, and then you get permission to watch it. Like obviously safety's first. That'll be great great thing to watch. Like for content and stuff like that as well. Just watching friends play, especially if you're playing a game you're having trouble with, and just watching them do it is really cool. I think personally, the system itself needs a complete overhaul. Like I said, graphics and stuff like that. Yeah, a bit of a bump up so it can help modern thing, but Nintendo don't need to do that because Nintendo is Nintendo. They'll make games different stylized and it'll still look amazing. But that said, they need to update the system a little bit and get a bit of power out of them.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned more power for the games, and I've seen people online complaining. I think it was a viral tweet this week about like, oh, it's only going to be as powerful as a PlayStation 4. I think people forget how big PlayStation 4 games were. Like, that's not a problem.
Well, that means it could run Arkham Knight now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be a positive.
And obviously, I would love to open one of the key games in the opening year is a remake of Ocarina of Time. Obviously, number one for me, as per usual. But just mainly system update. The form factor is good. I mean, even if you have to dock it and get more power out of it when you dock it, it doesn't bother me. As long as we have the option to, let it boost its power and get, and able to do more multiplayer with community stuff like that. Have more community interaction. Able to inject some community, some life into it. The Switch is great, everything like that, but lacking of community and community channels, like you said before, be amazing just to hang out with friends. Even if you have like an area where you can just you can drop in as a me, like a little like a home, and then you have friends there and you can voice chat and stuff like that. And then if you want to pair up for a game, you can go join a game and go.
Like the metaverse for Facebook.
Yeah. I use it, so that's what it came to. But like things like that, like just update it to a more modern system. That's the one thing I feel Nintendo's fallen behind, and that's pretty much my what I want from the new Switch 2. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Momo. I think what struck out to me what you said is just, I think having some kind of hub or some kind of more of a community on the actual system would be great. And Kevin, like, am I wrong? But like, wasn't there a community hub on the Wii U, or like, wasn't there like something on the eShop that was similar to that on the Wii U?
There was, and they used it like I was surprised it didn't carry over to the Switch. They did a lot of cool things with it. I always go back to, I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast. My favorite use of it was when they did Wind Waker, and you had this message in a bottle system where people were like sharing tips about the game and sharing pictures
and stuff like that. Yeah.
You could take pictures in the game and share them. And there was like a system where you had to take a picture of like every enemy in the game to get this model maker to make a model of it, and you could collect a lot of those pictures through the messages in a bottle that people were sharing. So it was a really cool feature.
Yeah, that is really cool, because I just think with a community hub with something, it's going to help the fan base of consumers become more educated.
And I just remembered another one was playing New Super Mario Brothers. People would write like a little like review of each level before you did it. Like it would say like, this one's too hard or something. Like it was simple, but like it was still a community.
It's certainly more engaging than the blue light at the bottom menu of my main screen is flashing.
Yeah, simple's fine too. It's like even if we had like a simple like Steam, like yes or no, positive, negative, thumbs up, thumbs down, because like I think I've made it evident on this podcast that I'm more than willing to play bad games if they're fun. But I just don't know. Like I'll go on the eShop and I'll find a game I don't know, and then I have to pull up YouTube. And
because even when
it'd be nice if it was all there.
Even when they have like the top selling, I'm like, is this really the top selling?
Yeah,
like, I have nothing to gauge it. Like, do people like this
or is nothing nothing on sale this week? Yeah.
Even if they bring back the 3DS feature where when you pass other players with switches, like you can get
yeah.
like
Oh, Street
prizes.
Pass.
Street Pass, there you go. Like even something
Yeah.
like that, like an updated version of Sweep, because people have their Switch in their bag and just be powered in standby mode. You know what I mean? Like at airports and
I
stuff
worked
like
at Target back then, and I used to leave my 3DS in the desk and in the electronics section. So if anybody walked by with Street Pass, I would get them.
Yeah.
Well, there
Just-
you go.
Yeah, just I think anything besides a bit of a power upgrade. I think system update, more focus on community, how to interact with community, interact with each other, channels. Even like I said, people can hang out in areas together. Don't do your multiplayer through a phone. Have the power to do it on the console natively. You know, able to do all these things that should be modern now. It doesn't need to be perfect. I mean, the modern stuff should be a bit perfect, but like with its own Nintendo flair. It doesn't. Because the problem with Nintendo, there's always a twang to when they do stuff. You know, they always have to throw something in there to really. It's like, hey, we're giving you multiplayer, but here's the thing. You know, things like
But you
that.
got to
That's
use your phone.
Yeah, that's Nintendo in a nutshell. You know, and then you spend after like 1 year, people figured out how to people made the Bluetooth split system where you can get voice audio and then you can Bluetooth to your phone and Switch, so you can use Discord to chat when you're playing like Fortnite, you know, or Fortnite used in-game chat anyway. But you know what I mean? Like people figured that out after a year. So the community itself, took care of things that Nintendo couldn't be bothered doing. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
I gotta say the Bluetooth Switch update is a day in gaming that I'm never gonna forget. Like the fact that third party companies were making Bluetooth dongles for the Switch, and throughout and no one knew that one day they were just gonna oh yeah, that Bluetooth you wanted, it was in your Switch console the entire time. We just switched it on one day. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget how crazy I thought that was, because I just assumed we didn't have Bluetooth up until that point.
All right, Sean, you're the last presentation here. What's your Switch 2 wants?
So my first Switch 2 want is, can we get rid of friend codes? Can we just make it easier to add people? Because, oh my god.
Yep.
What are we on? Their third console of friend? No, they've been doing that with handhelds too, so I don't know. Fifth or sixth console of friend codes. Friend codes need to go. Move on.
And that's it.
You guys have brought up a lot of the stuff, like the fact that it would be nice to have the system be able to actually handle all the ports that are on the system. So that would be a nice thing. But I think really for me, it's maybe allowing people to have more kind of functionality with Joy-Cons and things. Like, it's not the most comfortable controller in the world. So I feel like they need to redesign it to be more ergonomic, so it feels
Absolutely.
better in your hand when you're playing handheld, or even when you've got it docked into that tiny little controller thing that they give you. I don't know. It's just never quite felt right to me, but there's those things. The thing I've kind of always liked is Nintendo's consoles are always a gaming console first. So I can see adding the Twitch capability and stuff, but I don't care so much about having streaming and everything on it, like for movies and things. But
No,
Yeah, but this is about what you want. Not
no,
about what you don't
I know. I know. So yeah, I guess just
We're getting there.
Focus it on as a gaming console again, and I don't expect it to be a huge leap forward, but I mean, if you're gonna just re-release Mario Kart, just make that the pack-in game with every Switch 2. Just give everyone everything with it, like all the DLC, because at this point it's ridiculous to keep reselling it. But I think you guys touched on a lot of it. It needs more of a community feel than it has, because it's like I'll play something and then go, oh, I got a newsfeed alert or something.
Right.
Or like Momo was saying, like, oh, my nephew's on, apparently, because it just sends one of my friends is online.
Right.
And it's like, if there was a quicker way for me to check that instead of, all right, hold on, let me go to the main menu, go click up on my icon, Let me look, like they need to just simplify everything. Like I feel like Nintendo, maybe it's not ironic, but overcomplicates things that every other system just does as a simple thing. And it's like,
Oh, there's always a twang. Nintendo twang to things.
yeah, the Nintendo twang. I like
Yeah.
that. So that's really all the stuff I have is, just fix those little rough edges that you've lived with to this, because people are going to buy your system. It's not like they're not going to sell them. So it's like do those little things, because like you guys said, I mean, if someone's been waiting and waiting and they get a Switch 2 and it plays everything that was on the Switch, that's a pretty crazy game library out the gate. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I agree. I agree that it's going to sell well, but man, like I have a feeling they're being cautious based on the fact that it's been 7 years. Like we are well beyond any lifespan of any console that's not Game Boy related.
Yeah, because I mean, the 10+ year thing is an anomaly.
Yeah,
You know,
and
so
And I know they're looking at the fact that they had the Wii and the Switch, and they had something in between that that didn't work out. Even though it's not going to happen again. Like I know it's not going to happen.
right.
But I know they're taking. I think they're being very cautious with it, and again, I think that's going to lead to them having a very quick release after the initial announcement of it. I do want to add though that I hope with the online service that as they keep adding new games that I hope that we get. I hope Nintendo adds the best versions of any games that they
Yeah.
are going to add to the service, because I know it came up with F-Zero X, but it's really too bad that they don't add like the disk drive expansion when they could easily do something like
Yeah,
that. So
because with the like 3D All Stars, it's like I get that that's the one that had the quote unquote best version of Mario 64, but since you made that a limited thing, why not just put that on the service next time?
yeah, because I hope that they take into consideration the preservation part of it, and
Yeah.
the fact that like if consumers are going to want to play the versions of those games, either they can't or they're going to find a different way to do it. So it's just unfortunate.
Right.
I hope it changes for future generations, especially when we start getting into more games that actually have DLC and
Right.
remakes and whatever else.
Well, like I said, to have a console where it's like, oh, they ported this and it runs fine, that would be nice.
What
And that
is going?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want to do something kind of fun here. What is going to be? So, what do you think is going to be the launch title, and what do you want to be the launch title for the next system?
Well, those are very different questions for sure.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
two separate things.
That's fine.
So what I think is going to be the launch title is I could see them doing a new 3D Mario game, because it's been a while since Odyssey and they could have been working on that in
Mhm.
secret. I don't think a new Zelda is going to be happening, just because they spent like a decade on Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom. So they're going to be working on Zelda for a while. So yeah, I could see a new 3D Mario. And I could see them launching with a Pokemon game for the first time ever, since they've had so much success with it on the Switch.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, I think
And I'm
I
going to
think
think
what
about
they'll-
what I want. That I don't know
what
yet.
they'll launch with is probably gonna be they might launch it with a Star Fox.
There you
Like
go.
honestly, like
Okay.
I could see them launching it with a Star Fox and going, "Hey, look how great this looks," or whatever. Like just
Yeah.
as a to show off the power of the system. I definitely could see that as what they'll launch with. What I would like, I I would just love like an unexpected, like, hey, here's a new Punch Out. like just something you weren't expecting them to do. I'm like, oh, whoa, that's awesome. Like,
I've
'cause
got
Punch
my
Out for the
one.
Wii was awesome, and there hasn't been one since that, and I feel like that's kind of on the shelf collecting dust too. So, yeah, I think that's what I would like, a Punch Out at launch.
What I would want that might actually happen is Metroid Prime 4.
That could be a launch too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Momo, how about you?
I agree. I think Mario will be the launch, and I'm hoping that in Q1 of the launch, a Ocarina of Time remake or some sort of remake or even update to like any of the Zeldas coming into the new Switch with like updated fidelity and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
One Track Mind.
Yep.
So Momo,
I do. I'm gonna go down swinging, mate.
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
I've been
Hammer it
waiting
in,
for you
that's
to
fine.
be.
A man who
Waiting for you
knows
to
what
be
he
back
wants.
on. So
Yeah.
Momo, I've been playing Ocarina of Time again and enjoying the hell out of it. So
Yeah.
just wanted to let
And
you
you
know.
know what's funny? When you play it, it just feels like an old friend. It's like, hey, it's good to see you again. You know what I mean? Like it's a welcoming. And even though you know how everything plays, where everything is, and stuff like that, but you know what? When you play it, that sense of like that wonder, you still get it because that nostalgia on that game is ridiculous. Yeah.
Every time Momo praises Ocarina of Time, a fairy gets their wings.
I can't help it, man. It's my favorite game. Can't do it. I can't do
No,
anything else. I mean,
there's nothing wrong with
I
it,
mean,
man.
if they redo, they find a way to do Galaxy like a Galaxy update and bring it a Galaxy
Or
across.
Galaxy 3.
You know,
Oh,
like, it could be
that
possible.
would be crazy. Do that
Like
and
for-
like
for
theme it
Mario.
around
Yeah.
Super Mario
Yeah.
Brothers 3 like they did with 3D World.
That would be
Well,
cool.
I do think it's going to be a Mario title, whether it's Odyssey 2 or Galaxy 3 or something that could show that could really show off a new system, because it has been so long and you just know they're working on
Yeah, it has to be something
new
to be
Mario
like,
games. And,
hey
and,
guys, this thing can do this. Oh, all right. Awesome.
and to follow it up from 2023, where Mario had a big year, I think the launch title, I think it's going to be a Mario launch title again. But I mean, what I want to see is Metroid Prime 4. I don't think it's going to happen because although it's a popular game, it's not like Metroid
Yeah.
Dread sold about 3 million copies. It's not it's
Yeah, it's
popular,
never
but
been a
not.
top franchise for them as
Yeah.
much as it's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would love to have it as a launch title and be able to experience it. I'm playing it day one if that would happen. I want to experience it with everyone else. But my others would be I want to see a new IP with a new system. Just something completely brand new. I have no idea what that would be. And also Link Between Worlds remake. I'm going to keep hammering that in as well. Perhaps we
Okay.
see some different top-down remakes. Kevin, will we get an Oracle remake on this next system?
I'd like to see it. In that, I really want them to do something with that Link's Awakening art style. Like it's too adorable to just be a one and done. Like
Yeah.
please reuse that on something, even if it's not a Zelda game. Even if you redo like a Mario game in that art style or something, like redo Mario 64 in that art style. I don't care. Just do something with that art style.
Yep.
Even if
Ice
they bring back-
Climbers 2.
Yeah,
Conker's
yeah.
good.
There you go.
we just bring Conker back. They're friends with They're friends with Microsoft now.
Yeah, they are
I'm
buddies.
sure
with
Microsoft will let them. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Microsoft might let them like release Conker on their system as well as Microsoft. You never know.
Well, we've got that
Conkers.
rumored not Diddy Kong, that rumored Banjo Kazooie project starting. So
Conker's really bad decade. That would be good.
well, we do have some rumors to talk about if we're all done with our Switch 2 speculating.
Yeah. The rumors were interesting this week, actually.
I love that. I love that Harrison put this one in the doc because I did want to talk about this. So there's rumors surrounding a Nintendo Selects program
Mhm.
possibly happening because so many physical copies of games are being basically they're out of print now. There's 16 total Switch titles that are delisted online but still available for digital purpose. And yeah, they're out of print. I'm just gonna randomly pick a few on here, but like Pikmin 3 Deluxe, I could totally see being a select. Super Mario Odyssey is a no-brainer.
I
Yoshi's
like the
Crafted
ones
World.
that
Link's
don't make
Awakening, which we
sense.
just talked about. Link's Awakening is now out of print.
So, like, why is Fire Emblem Engage on that list?
Well, that's where the speculation really comes up as far as what's going on, because there's not like a real like direct like Nintendo Selects or Player's Choice has kind of been different system to system and region to region, so it's kind of hard to predict. And these lists of 16 games include games from when the Switch launched in 2017 up until Fire Emblem Engage, which was less than a year ago at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess, Sean, my answer to you is I think we have no idea.
Okay, I was just curious because I was like, all these games make sense for the most part, and then I'm like, that's new, really? Like, why is that on there?
Well, it makes sense, but we have games on here, like of course, like Odyssey would be on this list, Metroid Dread, but then like there are games like Mario Strikers which critically did horribly, which would still be which is still on this delisted.
Splatoon 2 being on there, that's weird. Is there still a community for the second one?
No. Okay. No, I mean, I don't. There's still support for the game, but I wonder, because the next speculation, I guess, would be price point, because it's not really consistent. It's not really consistent as far as that goes. As far as that goes, either. So
25 maybe.
So could we see a $10 discount with games like Odyssey, Metroid Dread, and then like a $30 discount for games like Mario Strikers and Splatoon, and then like for example, like I think with the Wii, I think it was a $10 discount, and then as they added new games, the current ones went down to like $20.
Well, so it's. See, like just, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, $25. Okay.
Like it's been different every time, and it's been very different across regions. Like for example, the Wii had 13 Nintendo Selects in North America, and 4 of those were exclusive to North America. So it's just there's just no consistency, and it only goes back to Player's Choice, which was going all the way up to GameCube, and that was based on the number of sales. Right? Yeah,
which this list is not, obviously.
My prediction is that Nintendo Selects is coming back, and it's always been introduced in the last year leading up to a new system, so that's good news. At least.
I mean,
I'm just surprised like, Luigi's Mansion 3 isn't on the list.
Yeah, that's not on there, but like New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, just get that for free. Like if you buy any one of the other ones, you get that free.
I'm assuming they're going to keep adding games to this list. I don't know if that means they eventually drop these ones down even further, but for example, like I could see Breath of the Wild being a select.
It's weird that it's not on there
with enough time after Tears of the Kingdom came out. Perhaps I don't like I could see him just adding to this list, because at this point it is kind of strange if it was just these games.
I mean, I'm surprised there's only one Kirby game on it.
Yeah,
all the Kirby games they have, but
I mean, we could put 16 Kirby games on here. Yeah,
it mostly makes sense, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I very rarely have bought games when they get to this point, because usually I have them already.
Yeah, and perhaps there's just games that are being delisted because they're being delisted, like Splatoon 2. Like perhaps they're just not making physical copies of that game anymore, and we're going to
That could be.
see most of these as selects.
All right, Momo's going to go spontaneously combust, and we're going to move on to our spotlight game. So this week we played Dig Dug Double. That's what they should have called it. But it was Dig Dug 2 on the NES.
Dig Dug Double D.
Dig Dug Double Dig. That's even better. Anything's better than Dig Dug 2. Came out in March of 1985 in Japan, and that was the only release date I found for it. I don't know if it came out here, if this is one of those import ones, but
I don't think it did.
yeah, I don't think it did
Probably
either.
not.
I never heard of it until it came up in the randomizer. I didn't even know it was there.
Wait a moment. Now it's saying so on the Nintendo wiki. It's saying that it was in December of 1989 that came out in North America for the NES.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, I believe that.
That makes sense because in my notes it said that the North American release on NES was the last time it was the only time it was released until 2005 when it came out on Nintendo DS. So I think that's right.
Oh wow, I didn't even know it was on DS.
But
No,
but
I'd
once
never
again-
heard of this game before.
I didn't know Dig Dug had a sequel until it came up.
For anyone who hasn't played it, it is, I think the best way to describe it is they took the Dig Dug gameplay and they said, well, what if we put it into a more of a Bomberman
Yeah.
field? Like, that's basically
Just-
what it is.
There's no digging.
There's no digging. Exactly. Yeah. It's like you're in a
Drove me crazy.
Bomberman, not exactly a grid, but definitely
No, it's a similar layout. It's like a
it's a
Bomberman
combat
level, but
square.
Yeah, there's no
Right.
actual grid in it. But Harrison, did you ever figure out what to do with the drill?
the drill where like so
The
you
A-button.
like
Drill the ground.
so you drill the ground and
He's not talking
and
about the pump. He's talking about like, because if you push
The
the
secondary thing you can do is use a drill, and I never figured out what it did.
so you can drill the ground and you can separate parts of the island, can't you? Is that what you mean?
Oh. I
If
never
that's
figured
what you're
that out.
supposed to do, I wasn't able to do it, but that makes more sense to me.
It's a bit difficult, but I think there's like dots on the map that you
Okay.
yeah,
can't
I never
drill and you
figured out what
can't
those dots were
separate.
for.
But I thought, to me, I thought the goal was because again, it's kind of like the original Dig Dug, where I guess you can shoot them or whatever it is. But like,
Yeah, you explode the monsters.
I thought the goal is that you separate the monsters from part of the map, and then you drill that part of the map, and then you make the island sink. You make that part of the
Oh.
island sink because the monsters can't swim.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I was reading that the character you play, you also can't swim, but there's speculation on whether or not like perhaps his suit is just too heavy and it just weighs him
Internet.
I
down.
like that there's speculation about an Atari arcade sequel.
I'm sure there's an entire Reddit community for Dig Dug 2, and they're
Yeah.
coming to bat.
Well, I thought it was funny playing it because, like, okay, the goal is to like destroy the monsters, but like one way, well, I think the way the game encourages you to destroy the monsters is by drilling and destroying parts of the island.
I
So
just
it's
use
like
the pump. That's all.
So
I
it's
That's
did.
all I did.
so it's like what does I don't know that like you can watch some well anyways but like I thought it was funny. It's like so like does the game want me to destroy the monsters or like destroy the ecosystem? You know, because basically like the game doesn't care like if you destroy the island.
So you went like Oppenheimer in it, like you
I don't
got
know.
really deep.
I never I don't unless it was probably like arcades, but I don't think I ever played like the like the like yeah I mean like I was not familiar with this game. I kind of went into it just
Did
like
you play the original
arcades
Dig Dug?
or was it arcade? Was it Atari? I think
So I
maybe
played it. It was on Windows, I think, or it was on some sort of arcade package I had on my old
I mean, it was an
Windows
Atari
98.
game, but it was on like everything ever.
Yeah,
But
Let me look up
that
what-
one you actually dig in the ground. So
yeah, that part I was a little bit confused about. Like I thought it was more like it's drilling, it's not really digging, and then like yeah, like on the map, right? You have like the dots, and you can like connect the dots. To me, it's like I'm not too familiar with like Bomberman or anything, but to me, it kind of it reminded me of like that game you play on paper where you like make all the dots and you draw lines and you have to connect. You have to make a square. You have to make a square and then you put like your initial on inside.
yeah, the dots game.
The dots game, right? To me, it was like that, but you have to like connect it like vertically, and then it cuts off part of the island, and then it sinks. But I think it's possible that like you could sink yourself as well. But anyways, I went into it blind. I think I played it the right way. like from I watched a review from CGR Undertow, which I've shouted out on here. It makes great reviews. I think I played it right. It's for me. It's not going to rank that high. I mean, it was it was fine, but
I mean, I enjoyed
I'm
it.
trying
I
to
played
find
it
how
throughout
it was
the
on
week.
my computer, and I think I found it here. They had, you know how the like Windows 95 had the arcade where it had like pool and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was Return of Arcade. Microsoft Return of Arcade is a video game compilation. Includes 4 classic games: Pac-Man, Galaxian, Pole Position, and Dig Dug for Windows 95.
Yeah,
Okay, I definitely had this. So it was on my Windows 95.
There you go. No, I mean, I had fun with it. I played it off and on throughout the week. I didn't get very good at it. Like, I'm better at the original because I would keep getting tricked by because again, I didn't understand the drill, so I was just trying to get the monsters with the pump, and I kept running into that thing where the similar monsters would overlap. So while I'm trying to kill one monster,
yeah,
the
the other
same
one's
exact
coming.
type of monster is coming after me. I'm like, ah, man. So I wasn't particularly good at it, but I enjoyed it. It's one of the better arcade games we played. So, I mean, ranking, I put it at 26. So it's below all the Mario advances, but above Metroid 2. So, I mean, I had fun with it. It's what, like I said, it's just one of the better arcade games we've played.
So I put it down. It's the last rank. You know, I've got the different dividing lines.
Yeah.
And this section is called basically like games I'll probably try again at some point. And
Okay.
it's the last ranked one in that section. So it's number 36. Everything below 36 is basically games I just outright didn't like.
Mhm.
And so this is one I'll probably play again someday, but the least likely for me to play again someday, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, number 36.
For me, I put it at 29, and that is right above Kirby Dream Land 3, and right below a group of Sega games like 26 Golden Axe 2, 27 Comic Zone, 28 Musha. So I don't think I would return to this game. I don't know if I'd recommend it. I think it's a fine game to have on the service. It's not a game. It's not a game where you're going to buy the service to have this game.
No.
Yeah. So I think it's fine because it doesn't. It's not taking up space.
I will say the reason I'm probably going to play it again is, like I said before, I was a pretty big fan of the original Dig Dug. I have great memories of playing it on my Windows 95 computer. And I'm also kind of a big fan of Bomberman. And this is so like similar to that. So
Sure.
I might play it again for those reasons.
Sure. For me, this felt like this felt like a game where I think it felt like after you get good at this game, it's going to be hard to not always do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So
It's not a complex game.
So I was thinking what if they made Dig Dug now where like you can just
Switch
make
to launch
world
title.
where you can just make worlds, I mean, procedurally generated now. I mean,
Yeah,
you can
that's
make
true.
you can make it so that every playthrough is different. Because to
What
me,
if instead of a pump he had like a machine gun, and what if
Yeah.
instead of a drill he had like a flamethrower?
sure, or what
And
if
it was
it was
first person, and
or what if it was a roguelike and you receive buffs and weapons throughout playing
Or-
it?
what if it was just Halo
Yeah.
My proposal's Dig Dug 99.
or Doom? Yeah, no, he did Dig Dug 99, Dig Dug 64. It's not too late.
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that I think as I played it more, I didn't like it as much. Especially
The more I
after
played it, the less I liked it.
yeah, I think because after I found out, like,
The tricks.
in my opinion, the best way to do something, that's what I
Yeah.
did. And I think I'm sure there's people back then that would just play it and could pick it up now and just do exactly that.
Oh,
So
Why don't you become the first one to get to the Dig Dug kill screen, and then you could be like that Tetris kid.
But specifically in Dig Dug 2.
yeah, because I don't like the game that much.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why. Yeah,
No one's asking you to enjoy it. We're just saying
Yeah.
do it.
yeah.
Someone's got to do it. Like that guy who got to level 99 in the Sector 1 reactor for Final Fantasy VII. Someone's got to do it.
Crazy guy.
All right, let's find out what we're playing on our Switch machines next week before they evolve into Switch 2s. So, this one's for you, Sean. Next
Woo!
week, we are playing the Super Nintendo. I think this is actually a valuable cart. I think it's kind of rare. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we're playing the Super Nintendo game Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Kong's Double Trouble.
I think that, yeah, that one sold the least, so I think you got a little bit of money if you have that one. Nice.
But
I've
you-
never beaten that one, so you gave me an incentive to try and get through that. So
Well, you just
Fantastic.
finished Minish Cap. I had to give you a new game to finish.
I know. I finished that. I'm in the middle of Ocarina. Now you gave me Donkey Kong 3. Come on.
Why wasn't it just called Dixie Kong? I guess they had to keep the Donkey
had
Kong
to-
titling, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they had to.
Is,
keep
is,
it
is
in
this the longest title we've had so far?
It's a pretty long title.
we've had some pretty big ones.
Do you
Super
play as
Mario
Dixie Kong?
Advance 4.
You do, yeah.
So it should have been
Dixie-
called Dixie Kong Country 3. I don't see why not.
What are you, Wario World? Donkey
Yeah,
Kong?
exactly.
People are
Exactly.
going to see Dixie Kong and think, what's that? That's not Donkey Kong. I'm not going to play that. I don't know. Super Mario Advance 3, Super Mario Brothers 3, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3. I don't know. It's like there's just
Well, if you've got thoughts
Maybe
on
one
what
will.
they should title it,
Yeah.
did you have more for that, Harrison?
it's one of the
I'm
long
just-
titles. That's all.
Oh, Kitty Kong. You play as Dixie and Kitty.
All right. So if you've got thoughts on what they should title this game, or you have thoughts on what you want to see in the Switch 2 that we didn't mention, or you just got Nintendo thoughts you want to get at us, send us an email at nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter, Nintendo Therapy, little @ symbol at Nintendo Therapy, and you can message us there. We'll take the message. We'll read our DMs. You could slide into those, as the kids say. And yeah, that's pretty much the show for this week. So next week we'll be back with more Nintendo action and some Diddy Kong talk, Dixie Kong talk, Dixie, Diddy, Donkey, King Kong talk. See you next
3.
week.